Okay. I need one volunteer who will repeat the shlokas after me. By the way, I am Karthik and I am today standing in lieu of Sri Narayan Mahodaya. The reason being he is traveling. I need one volunteer to repeat the shlokas after me. By the way, I am Karthik and I am. Yes, I am standing in lieu of Narayan Mahodaya here. So I want one volunteer who can repeat the Dhyaana Shloka. We'll do 2 Dhyaana Shlokas today. Somebody who can volunteer.
To start with, I can do that, sir.
Sure. Ajay Mahodaya Bhavan Kriyata. I will share the screen. I'm assuming, okay, give me a minute. Okay. Ajay Mahodaya, can you please unmute yourself? And
Sure, sir.
Everybody else can be on mute and chant along with Ajay Mahodaya. Okay. मम चलचित्रं दृश्यते वा? अत्र is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Astu. Okay. Just repeat twice after me.
Sure.
Vakratunda Mahakaya.
Vakratunda Mahakaya. Vakratunda Mahakaya.
Surya Koti Samaprabha.
Surya Koti Samaprabha. Surya Koti Samaprabha.
I'll tell it once again. Please be a little careful. Surya Koti Samaprabha. Surya Koti Samaprabha.
Surya Koti Samaprabha. Surya Koti Samaprabha.
Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva.
Nirvighnan kurme deva. Nirvighnan kurme deva.
Be a little careful here again. It should be Nga. Kakha Gaga Nga. What I am hearing is Nirvignam Kurume Deva. Please don't do that. It should be Nirvignam Kurume Deva.
Nirvighnan kurme deva. Nirvighnan kurme deva.
Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada.
Sarva karyeshu sarvada. Sarva karyeshu sarvada.
Let me tell the whole shloka. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada.
Should I also repeat, sir?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samprabha Nirvighnan kuru me dev sarva karyeshu sarvada.
Okay. Please remember, I heard Sarva Karyeshu. It should be only Shu. Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. Okay.
Sarvada. Okay.
Okay. One very important thing to note here. and this is where most people will make a mistake also, is that when you're chanting, it should not come as Nirvignam Kurume Deva, Ashuddham Asti. It should be Nirvignam Kurume Deva. There's a reason for it. Why it is so, we will study at a later date. Today may not be the right time to learn that part. We will study it in this class, but okay, in these sessions we will study it. But it should be like that. All right.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Second shloka. Saraswati namastubhyam
Saraswati namastubhyam
varade kamarupini
Varade Kamarupini Varade Kamarupini
vidyarambham karishyami
Vidyarambham Karishyami Vidyarambham Karishyami
siddhir bhavatu me sada.
Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada.
Correct. This you have chanted correctly. So I will repeat I'll tell the entire shloka. Saraswati namastubhyam varade kamarupini vidyarambham karishyami siddhir bhavatu me sada.
Saraswati Namastubhyam Varde Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. One more time.
Once more.
Saraswati Namastubhyam Varde Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada.
Dhanyavadaha boho. Thank you. So, couple of things. Saraswati is always with a dirgha. We know that Saraswati we write. But for the purpose of the shloka here, because of the reason she is in some, we are addressing her. I mean, there is a reason why this becomes Raswa. It has to be Raswa. Similarly, Kamarupini. It is not Dirgha. If you see it as Dirgha anywhere, please take it for granted. It is wrong. If the shloka is written wrongly. Again, here it should be Vidyarambham Karishyami and not Vidyarambham Karishyami. Okay?
Sure.
Okay. There are two more for today. I will chant in the interest of time. Next week, probably we can repeat that also. Okay?
Okay.
Guru Brahma, Guru Om, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. One couple of things to note here as well. It should be Param Brahma and not Parab Brahma. Similarly, a lot of places I have seen this mistake. They say Gurave Namaha. Sorry, I'll say Guruve Namaha. It should not be Guruve Namaha, it should be Gurave Namaha only. Okay?
Guruve Namaha.
Vakyakaram Vararuchim Bhashyakaram Patanjalim Panini Sutrakarancha Pranatosmi Munitrayam Om Sahana Vavato Sahanao Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. Dhanyavadaha. So I think this is something the Kakshanushasanam I will just go through once again. Last time Narayan Mahadaya had already spoken about it. So yeah, please do come in with a refreshed mind, relaxed and a refreshed mind. Log in a few minutes early. Basic decorum that we always practice, nothing very different. Have your video on, be on mute. Use your electronic hand to say raise hand when you have a question to speak or everything. And please participate in each class, as in the sense that yes, of course, we will call out your name or we'll have questions asked So please answer them and show your interest and your answer. And if you had chance about twice or thrice, then you probably have somebody else also to answer. The way typically I structure my classes is basically have a bhasha avalokanam, that is basically understand the essentials of the language for about 40-50 minutes. Do a bit of Samskrita Vangmaya Parichaya. What is that? What is that repository of Sanskritam that we have in our country that everybody wants to study and everybody wants to learn? There are a lot of people who said, I want to learn the basic text. I want to go to the basic text. I want to learn the basics of things. So what is that basic itself? I generally spend about 15 minutes in my classes. Then, of course, the Samskrita Sambhashanam, it should be for about 20 minutes. Today, we will not be following this strictly, but typically, this is what I do. All right. So, in essence, what is the idea of this course? Of course, there's going to be some end course exam, end course, this one and all. But personally, from my perspective, those are all secondary. We are all here to just learn, enjoy the journey wherever Ma Saraswati takes us, wherever Samskrita Mata takes us, we will just go with the flow and see how much ever she wants to come, we will accept her, we will welcome her, and we will take her with us. Astuva. So with this, I want to check if anybody has any questions so far, any specific questions, any specific thoughts, questions, anything that people have.
I'm fine, sir.
Nothing? Okay. What we will do for today, what is planned for today, is probably I'm assuming everybody got this presentation earlier because I shared it yesterday after my class. At
Yes,
least
sir.
you got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming most of you would have got it in your email. If you have not, please check your emails. It will be there. Okay. What we will do is we will go through the Varnamala. That is the basics, the fundamental of the Varnamala. We'll start with how it originated, where the Varnamala came from, why it is there, why is it important. All of you, I know that we all know the Devanagari script, but what is the origin of the Varnamala itself? We'll go a little details of that, how to pronounce each letter, each varna, what are swaras, what are vyanjanas, what are Guditakshara, and we'll stop with Guditakshara for today. That is the plan. Okay? And I'll expect everyone to participate. So please, I'll just call out the names in order. So, Aparna Mohdaya, Kanchan, Namaste Kanchan Mohdaya, ह्यः सम्भाषितवन्तौ बहु उत्तमम् आगतवती भवती अस्तु वृंदा महोदय उमा महोदय विनय महोदय जयदेव महोदय श्रीनिवास ज्योत्स्ना अस्तु okay so let me start my screen sharing again and we can start. So if anybody has a question, please raise your hand through this. Otherwise, I have shared my screen here, so I may not be able to just see you if you raise your hand like this. All right. So please raise your electronic hand to ask a question. That's a request. Okay. First of all, in terms of Varnamala, where does it originate? Where does this Varnamala come from? What do they say about the Varnamala itself? So, there is this, what is called the Shiva Sutrani or the Maheshwarani Sutrani. What does it say? It says, Dhrittavasane Nataraja Rajaha Nanada Dakkam Navapanchavaram Uddartu kaman sarakadi siddhan etad vivarshe Shiva Sutra Jalam. So I will just crudely translate this. We will not get into very detailed description of the shloka today, but someday in some class probably we'll get into that as well once we are a little more comfortable in Sanskrit. We all know that Shiva in his dancing position is called Nataraja. So Nataraja, when he was dancing, he was playing with his damaru. He was playing his damaru. We all understand what is damaru, right? Dhakka. That is what is called dhakka. He played it 14 times. Nava Pancha Varam. 9 plus 5. 14 times. Uddartu Kama Sanakadi Siddhan. There were enough siddhas there who observed this. And then what they realized was, and they discussed and came up that this is what is Shiva Sutra Jala. And this is a very important, or the web that Shiva has weaved around, which has come out in the form of the Varnas, Varnamaala. What are these? Let us see. I, Una, Rin, Ril, Rik, A, Om, I, Ouch, Haya, Varat, Lan, Yamangananam, Jabang, Gadha, Dhasha, Jabagadadasha, Kapha, Chatha, Tha, Chata, Tava, Kapaya, Shasha, Sar, Hala. So if you look at this, you will see that the first line, that's about 4 of these, are mostly about A, I, U, R, R, A, O, I, O. They are one set. And then there is this Haya, Vara, La. For the timing, just ignore the Halantakshara in the end. Gama, Yamang, Yamanganana, Jabha, Da, Jaba, Gada, Da, Kapha, Chatha, Chatata, Kapha, Shashasa, Ha. Astva. So let us see if we reorganize and rearrange this. What happened was Padini Maharshi rearranged, reorganized based on what he had seen and how he had observed and into this and came up with this one. So let us see what are these. These are what are called Swaraha, Swaraksharani. So I want, okay, let's go in an alphabetical order now. Aparna Mahadaya. Can you unmute yourself and read this?
A, I, U, R, A, I, O.
Okay. Couple of things. Okay, first question to you. Why have I organized it in 2 different lines?
Because one is a short and one is a bit longer version of it.
Fair enough. So in which case, can you, now that you know this, can you again read it?
A, I, U, R, A, I, O.
Right. Now, if you look at this carefully, what Aparna Mahodaya just said was clearly there is a shorter version and there is a longer version. The first 5, the first 5, first row, the 5 in the first row are the shorter version. A, I, U, R. The second row are all longer versions. So what does it mean? We call them Rasva and Dirgha. Okay. And this is an add-on which is not directly coming from the Shiva Sutrani. If I go back to the Shiva Sutra here, I only had I, E, U, R, R, A, O, I, O. It never spoke about A, I, U, R, R. It never said anything like that. Okay? So this is an add-on. That is something we should know. So if we take this as the base, there is what is called how to pronounce this. The pronunciation of this is dependent on what is called a matra. And that is what we will need to understand. What is a matra? If you say a and call that one matra, there is a shloka which says Eka matro brave bhavet hrasvah dvimatro dirgha uchyate trimatrastu pluto gyeyah vyanjanam tu ardhamatrakam. Let me again make it very simple for you. It says whatever you take as a, that if you call that as one matra, double that should be a, which is dirgha. Hrasva and dirgha. What Aparna Mahodaya just said as Raswa, short and long, it's actually Raswa and Dirgha. Okay. The shorter version is called Raswa. The longer version is Dirgha. Okay. So let me take that again and say A, I, U, R, R. A, I, O, Au. Okay. So that is how Hraswa and Dirgha is to be pronounced. So I want the next person who is there. Ajay Mahodaya. Ajay Mahodaya, is that you again? There are two Ajay Mahodayas.
No, sir. One I have logged in actually from
You are only
laptop.
logged in into two. Okay.
Yeah.
Same with Aparna Mahodaya. She has also logged in through two this one. Ramya Mahodaya.
Astu, sir. I want to read it again.
Yes, please read it again. Now understanding the fact that the A should be double of A.
A, I, U, O, R, R, A, I, O, Au.
Where is A, I, O, O?
Okay, double. Sorry, A, I, O, Au.
Right. So just remember, this is a very important thing in Sanskritam. This is a very important concept. In Sanskritam, we do not have A or O. In Kannada or in many other Indian languages, even in Telugu, for instance, in Kannada, in Telugu and all, the Varnamaala will have Hrasva of A also. There will be A, O. Okay. Whereas in Sanskritam, we do not have a Rasva form for A. Now, this R is a special case. This is not there in a lot of languages. This comes in this. I'll show you one usage of this in the. It's very commonly used in Vedas, but I'll show you one usage in Vishnu Sahasranama. I'm sure all of us have, many of us who have done Vishnu Sahasranama will know that in the Dhyaana Shloka it comes. Anyway, so but this also the Shloka talks about one more thing. Eka matro bravet hrasva, dvimatro dirgha uchyate, three matrastu plutaha. What is this pluta? We will just look at that also for a minute. Okay. Okay. if you look at this, Rasva, it is just, let's say the end of any, this one is Ikara, Gachati. Ti. Ti comes as T plus E is Ti. Right? Ikara. So Rasva is just an Ikara there. That's about it. If it were to be Dirgha, it will be Ti. Gachati. Though it is not a correct usage, I have just brought it here for an example. So Kaschana Gachati. Where does he go? You know, we make it very common. We are very used to Indianizing the English language as well. So we do a lot of our indigenizing the English language also, which we have done. I'll show you one more example of that. Right. So that where does he go? Let me just, that's sort of changing a very simple question of where does he go? To where does he go? You're making it a little curious or inquisitive, and it becomes a little different way of the whole concept itself is changing. Right? So a Hraswa changing to a Dirgha can mean a number of different things. Okay, so that is something, the meaning itself can change. That is something that we need to remember. There is also what is called a Pluta. For those who have read Taittiriya Upanishad, this comes there. This is in the Ananda Mimamsa, in the Ananda Valli, where the question is asked, after the prana leaves the body, where does it go? That is the question asked. So it's a very contemplative mode of asking that question. Kaschana gacchati. Kaschit samashnuta. So it's basically asking, contemplatively thinking, where is it going? Can I think? Right? It's the same word, it's the same gachati, it's going only. But it is very, very deeply giving a very different meaning to the whole thing by just making it a pluta, very long, elongated way. Okay? And similarly, is it going or is something pulling it? Kaschit samashnuta. Is it taking somewhere? So that is the sort of meaning changes itself that happens with just changing a Hraswa to a Dirgha. We are not even talking of two different words or two different sentences or two different things. All that I said was the same letter from Ikara to Ikara. That is all it did. Okay. So that is the power of the language. That is the power of using this language. Let me give a very Indianized version of this in English. In the good old days where we never had Siri and Alexa to guide us on the roads, and we never had the Google Maps, all that people would do was give you an address and say, come here. That's about it. Right? At best, if it was some unknown place, they would print some map if they were capable of, otherwise they would just let go. Right? Then you would figure out, okay, this is how it is, this is the nearest point, and somewhere close by, you would go to that point and ask somebody. So let's say you ask somebody, what they would say was, this place, I think I know where it is. It's near some tree. I know that tree. I'll tell you how to get to that tree. Go straight. Take a left. Go straight. Then take another right. Go straight through. At the end of the road, you'll find a tree. Right? Now, there is no concept of straight in English at all. But we have made it a very common thing in India to use it. The reason is all our languages very naturally and very natively use this explicitly. If I were to say the same thing in Hindi, it would be like, say, Seedha chale jana, athwa seedha chale jana, athwa seedha jana. All three mean very different things. Go for a short distance, go for a little longer distance, go for a long distance. So there is no such thing called a long distance. There's only a long distance in English. Correct? So the point is that there is a concept of where does it come from? It comes from this whole concept of Hrasva, Dirgha and Pluta, which is only a usage, form of usage rather than a form of real it's a form of expression and usage rather than a written codified way of doing it. Okay? So this was a very, I'm sure all of us can appreciate the importance of going through this here. Okay, so this is what I just wanted to showcase. Okay, let's move on. Now, I'm sure all of you observed one thing. In that, I had not included two very important things in the, what I had said was the swaras. What were they? Anybody? Please unmute yourself.
Ammaha.
Ammaha. Okay. Josna Mohdaya has a question. Please ask Mohdaya.
No, I wanted to say the Ammaha.
You wanted to say Ammaha. Now, Am and Aha are not swaras. Let's be very clear. Why are they not swaraha? Let's look at them. They are what are called Ayogavaha or Ayogavahau. This is that is the Anuswara. That is the Bindu. What we use as Bindu. This Bindu cannot stand on its own. It has to come with a Swara. When combined with a Swara, it can take any of these forms. Okay? Whose turn is it now? Ramya Mohdaya, Brinda Mohdaya.
Yes.
Brinda Mohdaya. Patyata.
You want me to read the whole thing?
Yeah, read.
A plus ang. That's how you want me to read it?
You know, okay, leave that out. Leave the Anuswara. Leave the first line.
You want me to read the
A
second line?
plus Anuswara becomes Am. Yeah, only the second line you can start reading.
Am, im, rum, rim, aim, om, aum.
Uttamam Mohdaya. Dhanyavadaha. Correct.
Thank you.
Next, who else wants to read? Maybe Chitra Mohdaya can read. No? Chitra Mohdaya asti va? Chitra Mohdaya?
Yeah.
Asti.
Am,
Mhm.
im,
You're not, your video is not on.
Okay. No, it is on actually.
It is on?
Yeah.
Why am I not seeing you? 1 minute. Give me a minute. Chitra Mohdaya. Idanim Drishtati. Start.
Am, im, rim, rim, aim, om,
Aum.
sorry, om, aum.
Correct. Now, please remember one thing. The Om that you said here is not the Omkara. This is an important point. It's not Pranava Nasti.
Okay.
Pranava is different. That is Om. There, it's a combination of Akara, Ukara, and Makara. That is Pranava Akshara. And its representation is also different. This Om is just an Om. It comes as an Om.
Oh.
Okay? So something to remember here. Astu. Dhanyavadaha Mohdaya. Okay. Similarly, what we also have is a visarga. The visarga is also not a swara. It is an ayogavaha. On its own, it does not have any meaning. When combined with with any of the swara, it takes a shape. It takes some form. What are those forms? Aha, aha, ihi, ihi, uhu, uhu, rh, 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 ehe, aihi, oho, auhu. Astva? Who's going to read this now? After Chitra Mahodaya, Deepak Mahodaya. Please start your video, Deepak Mahodaya.
Aha, aha, ihi, ihi, uhu, uhu, ruhu, rh, rh. How do you pronounce the one after that?
L, la and r.
Once more, please.
L,
Lr. Okay, lr.
Lrh.
Lraha.
Not lra. It is not refa. It is r. Lr.
Lraha.
Lr. Okay, lr. Right. Ehe, ehe. Okay, lrh. Lrh. I'll try that again later.
Yeah.
Ehe, ehe. Oho. Oh, what's the last one? Oh,
Auhu.
auhu. All right. Okay.
There is no ehe. It is ehe, aihi.
Ehe, aihi. Okay. Okay. Ehe,
Okay.
aihi. Oho, auhu.
There is no concept of Rasva Ekara.
Okay.
In Kannada, for instance, you will have A, O. Whereas in Sanskritam, you have only A, or rather only A.
Okay.
Okay. In
Sure.
Hindi also, you'll have A and A.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No, Hindi also you do not have. Braj Bhasha sometimes, very rarely you do, but not much. But in the South Indian languages, you do have A and A.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else who wants to try this once more? This is Visarga. This is a very important, this one.
Shall I try?
Please do. Who is that?
Uma.
Uma Mahodaya, Kriyatam Mahodaya.
So just to clarify my doubt about this ayoga vahaha, that means that it has to go with something to make.
Correct.
Right? That's what it means.
It has to be with one of the swaras.
Swaras. Okay.
It will be with one of the swaras.
So it doesn't exist by itself. That's the meaning of ayoga.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't have an existence with itself.
Okay.
So for instance, it will take a different form and shape also, as we will see later this one. If you go back this one, let's take this case of Anuswara. I said, Vidya Rambham, it should not be Vidya Rambham Karishyami in one particular case. Or Vakradunda Mahakaya Surikoti Svaprabha. Nirvig Nam Kurume Deva is wrong. Right? That Nam became Nang for some reason. So it can take different forms and shape also.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So just that we need to remember that Ayogavaha certain things can happen with these. Okay. This one you want to pronounce?
Yeah. Aha, aha, ihi, ihi, uhu, uhu, rh, rh, I'm not getting that. Okay.
Lrh.
Huh?
Lrh.
Rh.
La, r.
It is la and ra.
Yes, not ra.
Huh.
that becomes Ra. That
Okay.
is different.
Okay.
La and Ru.
Luru.
Lr.
Lur.
Lr.
Okay. Ehe. Ehe. I. Oho. Oho. Auha.
Again, there is no Oho. There is Oho.
Oho.
There
Okay.
is only Ehe. There is no Ehe.
Ehe. Oho. Auha.
Auhu.
Auhu.
There is Ehe, Aihi, Oho, Auhu.
Ehe. Aihi. Oho. Auhu.
Right. As to yeah, this can become a fun class actually if we keep doing this. Okay, we'll move ahead now. In the interest of our time, we'll go ahead and see, because we should see a few more things. Yes, Pratibha Mahadev, Uchita.
In the previous thing you said about Rasva, Dirgha and Pluto, but when writing T and T is written the same way. So how do you identify whether it is Dirgha or Pluta?
Good question. See, first of all, the Pluta part does not come very handy in any of the normal usages or written very commonly in the normal Sanskritam that we use. Nevertheless, in Vedic Sanskrit, Vedas, the Pluta is very, very important. And we use that very, very commonly. And it goes on. Okay. Monyo Osmakam Manyo Adiba. Oh, yes, it goes on. Okay. Now, the way to write this is like this. As I have written here. Kashchana Gachati. To denote that it is long, a 3 is mentioned in the bracket.
Okay.
Okay. And that denotes that this has to be for a longer time period. It has to go on for long. That is Pluta. Okay.
Dhanyawada.
Any other questions, Brinda Mahodaya? Okay. Aparna Mahodaya has a question.
Acharya, regarding Visargaha, can you please bring the slide? Here, if I have understood, it takes the pronunciation of the Svaraha that is preceding the Visargaha, is it? So it is Aha, Ihi. The Visarga takes the pronunciation of the Svara.
Yes, yes, yes.
So,
absolutely.
okay, then it is Ehe, then it is I-He, is it? He, it becomes
Yes.
He or it becomes Ehe?
No, it will not become I he. It becomes I he because the last part is I e ikara has come out there.
Acha, and
The last part is I e ikara has come there.
And what about the last one? Au who?
It takes the u, so au.
Okay, Dhanyawada, sir.
Yes, that's a very common mistake, especially people who have Hindi as their matrabhasha will generally, I have seen people do. What happens is they end up saying I, ha, e, ha, oh, and things like that has come out in the past. I have seen that happen very, very commonly with especially people coming from either the Maharashtra side or from the Rajasthan side. The people on the other side do not have this sort of too much of an issue, but they usually, because in Marathi and in the Gujarati, this one, you do not have too much usage of this visarga. That is not very, very common usage. Ajay Mode, yes, Prashna Chetu.
Sir, this is called Ayog Vaho. Ideally, A is used for negative sense, right? So it should be Yog Vaho because it is combining with the Swara. So Swara plus this or Visarga.
No,
Anuswara.
that's exactly how we should not mistake and make our own interpretations in Sanskritam, and that's the most dangerous thing we can ever do.
Yeah.
So, the yoga is yat yunjate. Yoga itself is joining. Okay.
Yeah.
That which is not joining with anyone and is independently going to join and change the meaning of itself is ayogavaha.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, one is join, yoga, and then without joining, it is going to change the meaning of something else. So that is a very long interpretation of it.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And there
Thank
is
you.
also a pratyaya there, vaha. So you have to join, take that into account also. Yaha ayogaha
Hmm.
vahi vahati. Ayoge vahati.
Ayogavaha. Hmm.
That flows with the flow of the swara. So anyway, we'll not get into that. That's probably 3 years from now. So hang in there for that class when probably somebody else will talk about it. All right.
Dhanavad.
So don't start interpreting terms based on the limited knowledge that we have here. All right.
Sure. Thank you.
I asked them. Brinda Mahade, you have one more question, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that going back to that Luta thing, when we read scriptures, how do we know it's a Pluta or a Dirgha there? Because I know I'm sure number 3 will not be mentioned there, no? Because for our understanding, I'm thinking you have mentioned the 3 over there.
No. Usually, even if you read Samagana, for instance, it is very common in Samaveda, if you know it, is full of music.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of matras coming there. It is
Yeah.
not just 3, it can be multiple ones.
Yeah.
Usually they have a counting system for it.
Okay.
Okay. How many matras should each one be? And somebody sitting and doing the Samagana. In the Hotragana, you have what are called what is that? Okay, there are Rigvedis, there are 4 Rigvedis in the Advaryu Gana, Gandharva Gana are those who are doing the Samagana, usually. Right? There will be one leader who will be sitting and counting how many matras have happened. And there, that person will show. And there are ways to showcase it, what has happened and how it has
Where is the basis of learning? They must have also got to know from somewhere, right? What is the source for that?
Samagana, these are also Vedas are something that are apaurusheya. In the Rishi as Rishis and Munis in a state of their exalted state of not being in this one, they have found this is what we learn.
Okay.
And they have got this down and how many matras and how many this one to go about. That's how it has come about, is what we learn in the Vedas.
Okay.
Okay. And for our representation and for common usage, like at least I am a very, very basic learner of Vedas. So for my usage, with the book that I have to have, it had just, there was a time probably when a guru would just speak and the other person, of course, in Dakshinamurti's time, he did not even talk. He just sat there and they understood everything. But in the next level, probably he spoke and they understood. But in my level, I have to keep a book that Guru is speaking there. Still, I make a mistake and I still get things changed. So, in spite of that, there are these things mentioned. Okay, so that is where this 3 is mentioned. At least in the current day, this one they are all clearly mentioned. Even in some of the old manuscripts, I have seen them mentioned on the leaves.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, they're there. They're very clearly there.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Agre Kamishya. Okay. Let's go ahead and see a little bit more about this. Brinda Madhya, I hope if you don't have any more questions, please lower your hand. Otherwise, it will Uttamam. Okay. So, Hrasva Dirgha Pluta was just one form of a Swara Ucharana. Now, it can also be in the form of a Udatta, Anudatta or Swarita. What is Udatta, Anudatta, Swarita? Let me just explain it to you in a very simple way. Let us say I use the word go again. Go, go, go. So you see the three different ways I am telling the same thing. One, I am making sort of a request where I am saying go. That is what is Anudatta. Then I am making an imperative statement, go. That is a Swarita. If I'm in an exalted mood and say, hey, go, I'm making an Udatta. So, apart from Hrasva, Dirgha and Pluta, we will also have Udatta, Anudatta and Swarita. Swarita, if you look at the way this one, what comes out is, what it says is, Uchchair Udattaha, Anucchair Udattaha, Anucchair Anudattaha, Samahara Swaritaha. So basically without any intonation. A higher intonation is Udatta, lower intonation is Anudatta, and plain this one is what is it called? Swarita. So that is the other three. Then you have Anunasika and Ananunasika. If I were to, I can make the same A, I, I, U, R without, through my nasal cavity, using my nasal cavity. A, I, O, R, R, so on and so forth. Right? So 3 into 3 into 2, there are totally 18 ways any of the swara can be pronounced. A given swara can be pronounced. That is the outcome of this this one. So when I say a swara, that is coming from the Maheshwara Sutra, which we saw first. Okay. So yeah, as I said, I wanted to show the this one usage of l. It is not very common. In the common usage, if you want to say in Vishnu Sahasranama, you'll come across this. I'm sure those of us who learned that in the Dhyaana Shloka, it comes. Mala kluptasanas tas padikamanidi bhai bhoktikai manditangaha shubhrai rabhrai radambrai rupari virechitai mukta piyusha varshai and so on. All right. So that l, this is the rikara which comes there as usage. Okay. Now let's move to the vyanjanaha. Vyanjanani. Shamita. Okay. Who wants to, whose turn is it? Who wants to read this? Vrunda Mahodaya is done. Chitra, Deepak Mahodaya. Ganapati Mahodaya. Can you?
Yeah. Can you see me and hear me?
Yes, I can. Let me add your spotlight also. How will I add?
Okay. They read all of them, or
yeah, you can read one cover. Somebody else can read.
Yeah, no, this is something I everything is ka for me, so I will just read it. But please correct me.
I know you come from that. Ka ga is represented as one word. One word.
Yeah, ka is all ka, but I'll try my best.
Please do.
Ka, ga, and last one is da.
Not da. It is ka ga nga.
Na. Okay. Ka, ga, na. Okay. I know ka and ga, but I don't know the difference between the two kas and the two gas, and that's going to be very difficult for me. I tried. I learned it in school, but again, never got that right. Okay.
Please read Chavarga, Tavarga also, in which case I think you'll need to do a little bit more practice here.
Okay. Okay. Cha, ja. See, bothjas are two same for me. And this is also na. I can't say anything more.
Cha, ja, ja, nya.
Yeah. Okay. Then ta, ta, da, da, na.
Na. Na.
Na. Okay.
Na.
I don't know where the tongue goes, so that's very difficult. I always say na.
Tongue should go up. In this case, the tongue should go up.
Okay. Na. Okay.
Na.
Tha, tha, da, da, na. That's the the Tamil na. I think that's the best I can cover of this. So, okay. Pa, fa. Is it fa? Am I correct?
So here, one thing that we should all remember, we would have all studied this as pa, fa, ba, bha, ma. Correct? Now in Sanskritam, there is no fa. As in, the Varnamaala does not have fa in this way. It is pa. Pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. It is not that the fa, the fa is not recognized in Sanskritam. It is recognized, but the way it is recognized is a very different form. We will get to that form at a later point. But in Sanskritam, it is pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. It is not phal. It is phalam.
Phalam.
Okay, it is always phalam, and all pha. Anything starting with pha is pha. It is not pha.
Okay. So it's a pa, pha, ba, ba, ma. Whatever my best pronunciation.
Okay. In which case you should also practice the other two.
Oh man. The last two, huh? Okay. Ya, ra, la, ba, sa, sha. Again, sha and sha, ha.
Okay. I'll tell the difference between sha and sha. Okay. Okay, fine. Thank you, Ganapati Mahodaya. Then probably next class you should be the one who should be you should be coming a little more practiced with it, because you will need that.
Yeah, I know. I did Hindi, that video you had, I am supposed to go through it a long time, so I'll go through it. Yes. Definitely.
Sure. Astu. Okay. Who else is there? Ganapati Mahodaya, then Girija Mahodaya. Bhavati ekavaram punah padishyati va?
Yeah, I will do. Kha, kha, gha, gha, nga. Cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. Ta, tha, dha, dha, na. Ta, tha, dha, dha, na. Pa, pha, bha, bha, ma. Ya, ra, la, va, sa, sha, sha, ha.
Okay. I have made a mistake here. Frankly, the order of this should be sha, sha, saha. This sa should come here. I should correct it. Anyway, but please keep that in mind. Okay. So but who can tell that is this the real Vyanjanani? Are these all the Vyanjanas?
No.
Okay, what is the Vyanjana?
Vyanjana is which is pronounced in half matra, and it cannot be pronounced without the help of swaras.
Uttamam Mahodaya. Uttamam. That is right. Now the point is, what she is saying is that this ka is with ka plus a is what makes it ka. This is what you said, right? This ka, cha. This is what is the real Vyanjana. What we saw earlier is that ka or kakara with an a. The ardha matra is from the a, and the ka is what is giving it. So let's go back to the shloka here, what we had. That makes it very clear. Ekamatro bhave dharasvaha, dvimatra dirgha uchyate, trimatra pluto gyeyaha, vyanjanam. That refers to this vyanjanani. To ardha matrakam. That is with half a matra only. Okay. So technically, we should have that with k, k, g, g, m, ch, ch, j, j, nya, t, th, d, d, n, t, th, d, d, n, p, p, b, b, m, y, r, l, v, sh, sh, s, h. But it's going to become very, very difficult if we are trying to do it that way. So to make everybody, and if you want to teach this to somebody going to LKG or first standard, that's even more miserable for us to make their lives. Already we have made it difficult. So what they did was, we will say, okay, for now, learn with an akara with it. And take that as a vyanjana for the time being. Astva. Another point that I wanted to make was, there is what is called an Antastha and Ushma Varna. What is an Antastha? If you look at if you look at this, ya, ra, la, va, observe it carefully when you pronounce it. There will be a small flip of air that you will take in. Ya, ra, la, va. Okay. So that sort of cools down the tip of the tongue. Antastha, it takes it in. Ushma is something that heats up your, Ushma is heat. So that heats up the tip of your tongue again. And there's a hot air that is blown out from there. Sha, sha, sa, ha. All this will happen. So these are called Ushma Varna, and that is called Antastha. And these are called Vargiya Vyanjana, and these are Avargiya Vyanjana. Basically, they are grouped. If you look at this, there is a Kavarga very cleanly going as Kakha. Why it is grouped, we'll say it in the next class. Why is it grouped that way, we will say it in the next class. So on and so forth. Okay. Whereas these are ungrouped. The ordering does not matter much, so you can have it as Yara Lava Shashasaha. Okay. So this is what the Varnamala is all about. Then comes what are called Gunitaksharani. Any questions till this point? Okay. What are Gunitaksharani? As Jyotsna Mahodaya just mentioned, Vyanjanas only contribute half a matra. Vyanjana with a swara is what makes it standing and giving some meaning to the word going forward. Okay. So there is a superimposition of saying, swaras are vowels, and an English lens is force fit onto it, and that's how people see it. But in my view, it may not be completely right, because English comes with a limited set of letters because of the way the language and the culture has evolved there. So, but in Indian parlance and Indian systems, without this, they standing on their own is only at the end of a word. They are rare that if they are there, any syllable that is taken up will necessarily have a form of one form or the other of a swara anywhere associated with it. Any pronounceable syllable, okay, will have some form of this. So who wants to now go about doing this? Let's see now. Jaydev Mahodaya Karishyati va?
Namaste. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Riyata.
So you want to read the after the equal. That's all.
Yeah. Try reading it. Ka yojana ka
ka chi.
No. I want you to read what happens when you add that other.
Okay. Ka plus a ka. Gha plus a kha. Cha.
That is
okay. Kha plus a kha. Cha plus e chi.
Astu. Dhanyawadaha Mahodaya.
Thank you.
Okay. Who is next here? Jyotsna Mahodaya Prishtavati Idaneemev. Kanchan Mahodaya Vadishyati va?
Mahodaya.
Uchyatam.
Cha adhika I hi.
Ekanimisha. I think
Rasva.
Rasva bhavitum shakyate. Ekanimisha. Let me make that change here itself. Otherwise, I will share something that is not right. Screen drishyate va?
Mahodaya.
Uchita.
Cha adhika I chi. Dha adhika U dhu.
Dhu.
Dha
adhika U dhu.
Dha adhika U dhu. Da adhika U dhu.
Dhanyawadaha. Who is the next one? Nagaprabha Mahodaya. Bhavtyaha Chalachitram na drishyate.
Namaste Mahodaya. Ka plus a ka.
So you want to read? Okay.
No.
What?
I have to read or what?
Yeah. Please read.
Ka yojana. Yojana, you say yojana for plus.
Yojana. Astu.
Ka plus a ka. Ka plus a ka. Ka. Cha plus I chi. Cha plus I chi.
Ekanimisha, instead of saying the, ch and all is difficult, probably what you can say is dhakara, kakara, khakara, chakara, chakara. You can replace it with that also.
Kakara.
You can say that.
Kakara plus a. Like that.
You can say that, or ik, or that is also.
Ka plus a ka. Ka plus a ka. Cha plus I chi. Cha plus I chi. Da or da? Da.
Da.
Da. Da plus
Dha.
Da. Big Da. This is
Mahaprana.
first one. Okay.
Second one. This one, no? You're reading this.
This, yeah.
So that is Dha.
This. Yeah. Da.
Da.
Da. Okay. Da plus U, do. And da plus U, do. Ta. No. Cha. Plus ru, chru.
No, this is not cha. This is, what is this?
Da. Da plus ru, dru. Dru. Ta plus ru. Ta plus ru. True.
True, right.
True. Ma plus a, may.
Correct. May.
May.
There is no a. In Sanskritam, there is no a. There's only a. There's
May
only a long a.
A. No?
Yeah.
May.
Okay.
May.
Read the next line also.
Yeah plus I.
A plus
Yay.
yay.
Yeah plus I. Yay. R plus U. Ru. L plus E. Li. Li.
Plus E.
L plus E. Li.
Right.
Va plus A. Way. Sh plus E. She. Sh plus O. Show.
Correct.
S plus A. Sa. Ha. Ha plus O. Ho. R plus U. Ru.
So observe one thing. Ru and Ru both exist, and writing them is very slightly different. So this Ru and Ru. So be careful when you are doing this. Okay? In your exercises. Any questions so far? Any other questions that you want me to address? Anything to ask? Anything, any other points that you want to ask or discuss or anything? Parnamadaya Uchita.
Charity, can you take it to the Svarita, that Svarita you had mentioned?
Svarita. This one, is it?
Please do forgive me, my math is very bad. Here you have written 3 into 3 into 2 is equal to 18. It should be added or multiplied, and how does it become 18? Or should it be 3 plus 3 plus 2? I did not get it. I got confused. I'm so sorry.
Okay. The Hraswa can have a Udatta, Hraswa can have an Anudatta, Hraswa can be Swarita. As I gave an example of, so say O. Okay. Dirgha can have an Udatta, Dirgha can have an Anudatta, Dirgha can be Swarita. Udatta. Swarita. Okay. Pluta. Gaccha. Ikara itself will take. Gacchati Swarita. Gacchati is Anudatta. Gacchati is udatta. Okay. Now, then the same thing I can do with anunasika and ananunasika. What I can do is anunasika I can take where I am saying anunasika is where I am using my nasal sound. That's all. Right. So there are three forms of this one same thing before Raswa, three forms of Raswa plus Udatta plus Anudatta plus Svarita. So it has to be one can be this three, 1 into 3 into this. So that is one combination. The same way we'll have another combination. So this 3 into 3 into 2. That's how it becomes 18.
जी धन्यवाद.
Okay. Deepak Mahodaya, Prashna. Yeah.
Sir, in the last slide, where we did with the plus thing, curve plus.
Unitakshara. Astu. We'll go there.
Yeah. So here, when you have curve plus the arrow attached to the bottom, you say ik plus a curve.
Yes, that's another way of doing it. Ik.
Okay. So
you're right. It can either be ik or a kakara or just k. But yeah, just to make sure it is denoted as this one, you use ik to say that it is just this one. That's one. That's another way of doing it. That's a very accepted way of doing it. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Or you can also say kakara. Simple.
Okay.
Kakara, kakara, chakara, chakara, dakara, dakara, so on and so forth.
Okay. Thank you.
That way it makes it very clear. Suprabha Mahodaya Uchyatam. Prashna asti va?
In Anunasika and Ananunasika, all the swaras cannot be said in Anunasika and Ananunasika. Few can be, is it like that?
Tell me one swara which cannot be in Anunasika.
Some swaras has a nasal twang and some won't have. Is
Which
this
one
that
does
way?
not
It is, if you
Slide.
take one swara, can be told as Anunasika and Ananunasika. Is it like that?
Yes. A, I, U, R, A, I, O, Au. This is all Ananunasika. Correct? Let me do the Anunasika. A, I, U, R, A, I, O, Au.
Okay. Dhanyawad.
Right. None of them can be this, right? So that was this one. Okay. Any other questions? Pratibha Mahodaya Uchita.
Between the sha and sha sound pronunciation, even in Bhagavad Gita, they say that sha and sha pronunciation is different. Can you explain how differently we have to pronounce sha and sha?
Okay, let's take the simple example. Very, very common example. Give me a word with sha and give me another word which has sha.
Shadyantra.
Shadyantra. Wow, very good. Perfect example. Okay. Shadyantra. Is it Shadyantra or Shadyantra?
The second sha.
The second.
Shadyantra.
Shadayantra.
Sha.
So Shadayantra is basically 6 yantras. So that's what is this one that it comes. Okay. That is Shadayantra. Now give me one with the other sha.
Shastra.
Shastra. Okay. You made the difference yourself. Shastra.
So, sh Sha. We blow out more sound out. Shastra.
So sha is basically you'll use the teeth and the tongue there. Shastra. Okay. Shadyantra, you will not come anywhere near the teeth, but you will go up.
Shadi.
Correct? We will see this in the next class. We will make a lot of experiments with it. Okay, there are 26 places in this whole point from the vocal cord till the lips and this nasal cavity where sounds can be produced. 26 points, and they have mapped and studied this to the last point. About 2000, this was 2005, at least 2500 years ago. All right. And they have mapped out and said this is exactly where the sound has to come from. If there is a blockage, then it's a problem. Okay. So we'll study that. In next class, we will see that in detail. Then it will be fun. So one thing that everybody must do, and that's an exercise that I've put out as an activity as well. Whenever you are pronouncing any syllable, try to become aware of from which part is that getting pronounced. And this is language agnostic, right? You don't need to be only speaking in Sanskrit. You can be speaking in English. While you are pronouncing, just make sure where those sounds are emanating from. What is happening? You'll slowly become. Somebody said, I want to achieve moksha by learning Sanskrit, right here. Was it in this class or some other class? Okay. In some other class. Try to become aware of those sounds. You'll start realizing, you'll start thinking about it very differently. All right?
Thank you.
Okay. Next. Any other questions? Any other specific questions or any other feedback, any other thoughts?
So will we be getting this pronunciation of these letters?
Sorry?
Will we be getting the pronunciation of these letters also? The way to pronounce it properly?
The way to pronounce it properly. Very good question. You want me to record and send it?
Yeah, that would be nice.
I thought this class we have done this. No, can we take this class and send
it? When after the class, probably it'll be out of our mind also. So
no, it's there on YouTube. So we are live on YouTube. We'll be putting out the video also. But in any case, yeah, let me see if I can get a good recording through somebody who's a good, who's correctly produced it. If I can, I will just share it. I'll definitely share it tomorrow.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Yes, Madhya.
So, actually, if you can put up that slide on the screen, I'm not able to pronounce it correctly. I know when you are pronouncing it, but there are these words like the first word in the second sentence. How do you know which syllable to pronounce first? Is it Vyagnya na or Vechnya na? I don't understand this.
Which one? This one?
This one. Yes.
Okay, very simple. Whatever is up or whatever is before is to be pronounced first.
Okay.
We go left to right, top to bottom.
Okay.
Simple, very, very simple. Oh, it is violated in only one place. I'll show that to you in the next, this one when we do Sayukta Aksharani. This is only Gudita Akshara we are doing. We need to do Sayukta Akshara. Where the Hakara comes, Brahma. Their writing is different and this one is written. Okay. That is one place. I'll show you in the next class how that is done.
All right, yes. Usually,
no doubts. I mean, Padini is very, very. I don't think any programmer is so meticulous these days. I find them very, very notoriously bad programmers. At least they don't write good programs. They don't write it in order. That's my biggest problem. Padini is very clear. When he writes it, is extremely clear. Go left to right, go top to bottom. Nothing more. Don't think anything too much. And when he says something, that has to be the perfect this one. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Any other this one? Okay. Then let's go to one more concept. Yeah. Another concept. There are, as we saw, there are about 25 Vargiya Vyanjanani. Panchavimshati Vargiya Vyanjanani Santi. Astu va? There, how do we sort of group them? There is another way of grouping them. What are called Alpa Prana? What are Alpa Prana? Anybody wants to say what is an Alpa Prana?
Maybe with the the air which comes out is very small.
Short-lived.
And in the Mahaprana, it is a thrust kind of thing. Like
okay.
There is no thrust. Kha, there is a thrust.
Right. So essentially, it's about the. You're right. It's the thrust, and it's also about the effort that is required to pronounce it. So there is ka, cha, ta, ta, pa. It is not requiring too much of an effort. Whereas I need to make an effort of my breath when I say kha, cha, ta, tha, fa. Or gha, jha, da, dha, dha, bha. Or even sha, sha, sa, ha. So they're all Mahaprana. Whereas if I'm saying ya, ra, la, va, ka, ka, cha, ta, tha, pa, ga, ja, da, da, va. It is straightforward. Not very difficult. Okay. The other thing that comes up is Anunasika aha. That is nga, nya, na, na, ma. These are all Anunasika. They're all coming from the nasal cavity. They necessarily need to use the nasal cavity at some point when they are being pronounced. Ga, nya, na, ma. Right? So, any specific questions? Anything? Yeah. So, otherwise, these are the general activities that are there for the class. The two Dhyaana Shloka that we had. And as I just said, observe and be aware of the syllables where we are speaking. It can be just be aware, just get a simplistic concept of it. And as a practice homework, what is the practice homework? Basically, we want you to get used to the Google Classroom this week so that it's easier when we give you a little longer and a little elaborate homework. Just reproduce the Varnamaala, write it in your own handwriting, scan it and upload it in a PDF form to the Google Classroom. Is that okay? Any other questions, any other thoughts, any other comments, anything that you want to say? Vinay Mahodaya, Shibanisha Mahodaya, both of you have not speak. Aparna Mahodaya, give me 1 minute. Probably we'll hear out Vinay Mahodaya first and then come back.
Yeah. It is clear, sir.
It's clear. Nothing to talk about. Astu.
Nothing.
Shibanisha Mahodaya, Uchitam. What happened? Shibalinga Mahodaya is not there. No else. Sureka Mahodaya. Usha Mahodaya. Let unmute and talk. Any questions, anything you didn't get a chance today to speak? So you are not audible. I think your microphone is muted. You're speaking, but we are not able to hear. Already you can type and send whatever you want to say. Okay, you are saying everything is good. Okay. Okay. Sureka Mahodaya. Shivanisa Mahodaya.
Extremely sorry, sir. My laptop power went off.
Chinta nasti. No need to apologize. Tell me any questions, anything.
No, at this moment, nothing, sir.
At this moment, nothing. Everything is clear. Astu. Aparna Mahodaya.
Acharya ji, Mahaprana, you have said sh, and sa. But while pronouncing, is it sa more like Alpa Prana? Why is it Mahaprana then?
So it is a Ushma Varna, so that becomes a Mahaprana then. So because of the Ushma Varna, it becomes a hot, this one that is coming out, Sa. That is the reason it is classified there as a Mahaprana rather than a Alpa Prana. It is soft. There's a please don't, there's a difference between Mridu Vyanjana and a Karkasha Vyanjana. That's a different classification altogether, which you have not seen. Okay, so please don't confuse that with Alpa Prana and Mahaprana. There are two different classifications altogether. Astu Ganapati Mahodaya.
Yes, sir. So I'm curious. This is something I learned Hindi by watching movies. So this was Doordarshan time when Sunday used to have Hindi movies, right? That was a long time ago. People won't know that. If you might be
Hindi movie, perfect. Yes, everybody loved that time.
Yes. Yeah. So most of my Hindi comes from some school, of course. Till 8th or 10th, I had some Hindi and Sanskrit both. 8th, I had at least Sanskrit. 6th, 7th, 8th, I did. But what helped me learn Hindi was the movies, mostly. Because a lot more words coming out, right? Then you learn that better.
Okay.
So that's why your pronunciation is bad, though. So yeah. So like that, I was curious, is there a collection of Sanskrit plays or movies like modern day? Just we can watch. It's easier, you get more words, more pronunciations. I never thought about it till now. That's only just a suggestion. If you can recommend, it will be great.
Lots of them are there. Check for what is called Vyoma Labs has created some good animations, but more than Vyoma Labs, there is one Panchatantra series which somebody has very beautifully done and put out there with children, and they're all children of 5 to 10 years with excellent knowledge of Sanskritam and pronunciation.
Wow. Okay, that will be very nice. Yes.
If I find the link, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that'll be very. Also, it's always entertaining. So that's how I caught. That's easy. English also to some extent. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yes, Deepak Mahodaya, you have a question.
Yeah. So the word Gunitaksharani, is that correct? Gunitaksharani.
Was there any problem with it, or?
Yeah. So the sh has a matra, but why are we not pronouncing it in that word itself?
Gunita Aksharani. What did I put out there? Let me just take a look before I answer that question. Maybe I made a mistake of something. Gunitaksharani. Gunitaksharani. So what is the question?
The letter after the, right? Sure.
Sha. Gunita plus Aksharani.
Okay. 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 Okay.
So that's why it becomes Mritaksharani.
Okay. Sure. Thanks.
Any other? Vishwa Mahadaya, Uchitam. Yes.
Yeah.
Had a chance to speak also today. Please.
Yeah, sure. Is my voice audible?
A little more, you need to be a little louder.
Okay, my voice audible, sir, now?
Some disturbance.
Some disturbance. Okay,
Now it's good.
Okay. So you prepared the slides using Beamer and is
This was okay. I started with the presentation and then went to Beamer and then
So basically in LaTeX, what packages I should use? I have to compile with XC-LaTeX or?
Okay.
Yeah.
What I do is a very simple thing. By using LaTeX, are you using the Windows version of LaTeX or the Linux version of LaTeX?
I use Linux version.
Linux version can have a problem because what I am using is what is called Bhasha IME. Now this is developed by one gentleman from Bangalore somewhere who uses the same keyboard lexicon to actually type.
Okay.
So given that it takes anything on a WordPad. So from a WordPad, compiling it into MikTeX Beamer is very easy.
Okay.
Right. But in a Linux system, it can be a little challenging.
Okay, so I need to have a different keyboard for this?
No. It's a phonetic keyboard that I'm using.
I
So
see.
it's a very simple phonetic keyboard where if I have to write karma, I type Karma. Simple.
Okay. So then any additional packages that I have to include in the
No. As I said, for Linux, I don't know how it works.
Okay.
Let me show you what I do when I am using this. Okay. Tell me a word. Tell me a Sanskritam word.
Karma.
That is Karma. Then any other thing?
Karyeshu.
Okay. Now I'll show you the beauty of this package. I just copied this. Control C.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm going to translate this from this to Uniani to IAS. I'll show you what this does for me. This is what it does.
Okay. So then you just put in LaTeX and it will just do. So I think you have to run in XC-LaTeX, I think.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This has this built-in feature of what is called transliteration.
Okay. That is already there in the word that you are using. Okay.
In the compiler.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Anybody else? Any other question? Yeah. So Ganapati Mahodaya, Jyotsna Mahodaya, if you say I learned Hindi through watching movies, she will say no. Let me now come back to you and then teach you real Vyakarana of Hindi. So I'm sure she's going to do that. Okay, let's do it. I think we are already 10 minutes overshot the time. So in the interest of everybody's sleep and everybody's, I think most of us are from India here. So let me just do the Shanti Mantra and then wind up. Shall we do that? Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyaena Margena Mahimahishah Om Brahmanebhyo Shubhamasturityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasyashalini Deshoyam Shobharahitah Brahmana Santu Nirbhayah Aputra Putrinas Santu Pautrinah Adhanat Sadanat Santu Jivantu Shardam Shatam Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। हरिः ओम। श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु। श्री गुरुचरणारविन्दार्पणमस्तु। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। सर्वेभ्यः धन्यवादाः।